I have been solo learning both Portuguese and Farsi this year, and this is the first time that I have totally scrapped the projects and plans that I detailed to you in both of these videos because there are so many advantages to intentionally learning languages slowly that literally no one talks about. We are all about learning as fast as we can, seeing others' progress, and then feeling like we are constantly behind. What are some of the benefits that I have seen from learning slowly? I guess by slow learning and being intentional with things, I understand that I can open a book without feeling guilty and second guessing already if I am doing quote unquote the right thing to learn a language, because my psychology is so impacted by the pressure to learn fast when I am thinking in that way. And I find that whenever I'm able to let go of that and simply just enjoy opening the book and enjoy looking at new vocabulary words in my graded reader and maybe even finding associations to previous words that I know, like all of those really small things in study sessions have become, I don't know, so fulfilling because it really helps me not only slow down and be able to process things on my own terms and not put pressure on myself to learn something so fast. And if I don't learn something so fast, then what does that say about me? Like, does that mean I'm a valid language learner or not, etc.? It's like I don't have to fight myself through the language learning process. I feel like I'm not forcing myself to do anything that I don't want to do. Yes, I can set a goal for saying, okay, I'm going to read about a chapter for the next 2 days in this graded reader for Portuguese. But then again, there's not that idea nagging me in the back of my head that if I don't accomplish this, then I am automatically going to fail. It really helps me eliminate a lot of that black and white thinking that we language learners can use so much mental energy and time on instead of actually and not only enjoying the process, but being able to learn more and pick up more. I find ironically that slowing down actually helps you speed up the language learning process in this way, because when you're learning a language, you are truly learning to master yourself, your mindset, your habits, your behaviors and patterns that can get in your own way of learning a language more efficiently, right? I find that I'm able to understand myself and meet myself where I'm at a lot more when I do this. Another really great advantage of learning slowly is that you learn to build self-trust. There is always this notion of feeling that if you ever slow down, if you ever stop, if you ever miss a day implementing your language learning routine, then you're automatically going to be behind. And from there, we are automatically operating from a lack mindset in our language learning, which then of course can build a lot of guilt and resentment over time to the whole learning process. I specifically remember when I chose not to slow down learning Spanish, right? Like I was pretty conversationally fluent after only 6 months. But then what did that do to my psychology? Even though I got, a lot of compliments from others saying, wow, you learned this language so fast and, how'd you do it? What's your trick and everything? My language learning still kept going on. And because I had gotten great results from learning so fast, I didn't trust myself to be able to still get great results in another language by having another slower approach to it. Even though sometimes in my life circumstances simply called for me to slow down and learn languages more slowly. And it also impacted my psychology of learning French after Spanish and thinking, okay, well, I'm a failure because I haven't learned French or reached this level in the same time that I have with Spanish. When you really slow down and you trust yourself that you are sticking this out for the long run, and you trust that you may not know exactly the clear path to get where you want to go, but you understand that you are going to get there and you are excited and empowered by the fact that you can do that your own way, that is truly the sweet spot of successful language learning, when you build that self-trust. But you can only access that self-trust when you do allow yourself to do things differently from what the norm professes, especially online, which usually that means slowing down in order to then speed up. If you are looking for that one clear path about how to not only build that self-trust, but learn how you learn best and set yourself up for lifelong confidence and fluency on your own terms, that is exactly why I created my program, Multilingual You. It is a one-on-one coaching program. And so if you feel like you are stuck and you are ready to not go at it alone anymore, make sure you fill in my really short form and then pin a comment below to see if you are a good fit. Now, within the self-trust, I never felt like I had to copy absolutely anyone else's routine again. I felt so autonomous in what I was doing. With that self-trust comes the fact of, well, I never have to waste another second of my study session ever again. Everything in my study session gets to count. And that is an absolutely great feeling coming from a very introverted perfectionist who was a high achiever as well in school and always believed too that I had to struggle in order to feel like something counted in my language learning. Like music, listening to music did not count. Watching a movie with subtitles did not count because there were subtitles, and that was for me cheating. Like there were so many different limiting beliefs that I had a choice to change, but I was also very much blind to because I was so hyper-focused on being the most productive and learning the fastest that I could. And that's what I'm going to say to this next point of, with that self-trust, learning feels the easiest when learning slowly. We want something to feel easy. And whenever we see like a simple routine that is given, by maybe a polyglot that we really are inspired by, and they say it only takes 15 to 30 minutes, etc., implementation of a so-called simple routine can actually be pretty hard, especially if we are someone who struggles with a lot of mental, emotional barriers, as the ones that I've described throughout this whole video. I have struggled with quite a few. Whenever we conflate seeing a simple routine with it being easy, then that is where we can really be hard on ourselves when we see that we still can't stay consistent for some reason with this routine that was given, or we just don't get the same results from the routine. Whenever I see something that's professed as simple, it still doesn't mean that it's going to be easy to do. And that's also because of, again, the pressure that we can put on ourselves to master a certain concept, vocabulary, number of words, etc., using this routine. I know that whenever I have a routine that is simple for me because it's personalized exactly to how I learn, that it also means that it's easy for me to implement. Like there is so much ease and curiosity and trust in knowing that I'm going to get wherever I want to go, even though I don't know exactly how I'm going to get there yet, because I'm enjoying the process so much of getting there. And I also have ample time to reflect again in order to understand what I want to do from week to week. There's not this pressure to perform, right, at a certain level according to my own high expectations that probably were never mine to begin with. Another great advantage of learning slowly is that learning feels perfect. And I want to investigate what perfect language learning is, right? We don't necessarily use the verbiage of perfect whenever we think about language learning. We just want the process to be fast, to be effective. But that is, as a culture, especially on the internet within the niche of language learning, is what we have chalked up to be essentially perfect, right? Even though we don't say the word. For language learning processes to go a certain way in a certain amount of time, and if we don't adhere to all of those requirements, then that means that we are, imperfect and we should be ashamed of our mistakes. But my language learning genuinely feels perfect because it makes me feel present. Whenever we psych ourselves out thinking that whenever I, on a larger scale, get fluent, that is when I can finally enjoy this language. There's always, if I do this, then I will feel this. So essentially we're just delaying joy that we could be feeling right now in order to chase some kind of perfection that we have in our heads. And really, when we say we want things to be perfect, we want presence. And being able to stay present and learn slowly, that is really what makes my language learning feel perfect. So I truly advocate for where you can slow down intentionally in your studies for this week. It's something that I am so passionate about, helping language learners more deeply understand about themselves. You get to know yourself so much better and enjoy the process so much more when you integrate some of these elements into making learning more sustainable for you, because that's really what slowing down is about. Otherwise, I'd love to know what resonated most with you in this video. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again very soon.